Well, good morning, YouTube. In this episode, I wanted to share a few tips that I've not seen covered elsewhere for configuring hardware, software, and system settings to optimize media PC performance. So I'll cover video card settings, audio-video connections, web browsers, and time synchronization in this video. I've mainly used NVidia-based graphics cards in my system, so I'll focus on those, but others likely have similar options. With the NVIDIA cards, you use the NVIDIA control panel, which you can get with a right click in the desktop, and most of these options are dealing with 3D. You got your display resolution, here's the your HDCP status. I'll talk about that later. But what you want to do for media is come down to the bottom. There's a section for video, and you'll want to select the adjust video color settings. The default is to use the video player settings, but what I've found works better is if you select the NVIDIA settings and then come down here to advanced. So select the full 0 to 255 dynamic range, and what that applies to, you can see down here, dynamic range allows the user to select dynamic range of the video content, preserving black detail and white peaks based on the type of video content, and that refers to the 8-bit red, green, blue color. I found that with cable or satellite TV, you generally only get this limited range, but when you go to over-the-air TV, I've found that you can benefit from the 0 to 255 dynamic range, and I've seen that run the same program on DirecTV and over-the-air TV network broadcast, and you could really see the difference in the shadows. There's also some other options under the video image settings. I've selected all of the enhanced settings for that. And one thing you might want to do is double check this from time to time, because I've had this revert to the default settings once or twice after I've done updated graphics drivers or done a Microsoft automatic update. So just double check this periodically and make sure it's still on the NVIDIA settings. And other GPUs or graphics cards likely have similar setting options, so be sure to check out their configuration utility. Another graphics card feature to check out is multiple video outputs. So HDMI is great as it combines video and high quality audio into one cable, and that ties into my point in the first video in this series on minimizing connections. So if your card has multiple HDMI connections, that's great, but if not, look at some of the other connections. They may serve a purpose. For example, my GT610 card, which is in this PC, has one HDMI, one DVI, and one VGA output. My AV receiver has only HDMI inputs. My TV has HDMI plus one VGA or PC input. So what I do is I plug the PC into my AV receiver via the HDMI output so I can access the 7.1 channel audio, but I also plug the PC or VGA output into the TV's PC input. I'll go into some of the issues you might run into with HDMI connections in a later video segment, but suffice to say this VGA connection can be a lifesaver, and it can also add flexibility to the whole home theater system.